Zak Wolf, Private Nose here. Today's case, so to speak, involves a book comparison of sorts, albeit a slightly different one, but still involving the 1997 Mercer Mayer CD-ROM game, The Smelly Mystery, as featured on this YouTube channel quite a bit, as I was the first one, after all, to do a Let's Play video of it. You may recall it 4 years ago that mug Zak Wolf compared the game to this book here, Little Monsters Scratch and Sniff Mystery, from 1980, which is what the Smelly Mystery game was loosely based off of. Well, in 1998, the book was reissued under the new title, The Smelly Mystery, but had a bunch of alterations made to make it more similar to the PC game. I will be comparing this original book with the 1998 reissue, included as part of this. The Little Monster Treasury, collecting many of the older Little Monster stories from the late 1970s, along with some of the newer Little Monster Private Eye stories of the late 1990s. But anyways, let's start both stories. Hey, can we get rid of the film noir filter here? There. That's much better, so you can all see the color differences as well. Okay. According to these, in the original version, the text has Little Monster Private Eye's alter ego called Mystery Monster. And the telephone call here is from a mysterious voice saying, "You better hurry to Mrs. Yellow Pappas's house. Something has happened to her lunch. The orange juice smells like peanut butter and the peanut butter smells like orange juice." Also note the word bubbles from Little Monster's mom. "Little Monster, what did you do with the clean sheets?" In the reissue, the text is changed so that it's Mrs. Yellow Pappas calling Little Monster, instead of the mysterious voice presumed to be the evil smell switcher. Additionally, all the dialogue in the 1998 version is told in the first-person point of view, from Little Monster. The original book here had third-person narration, which was very different from the other Little Monster books, both older and newer, that are typically written in first-person narration, like the Little Critter books typically are, along with some of those Critters of the Night books. Also, you may have noticed that the illustrations are colored differently. Apparently, Mercer Mayer must have redrawn most of the old illustrations so they become more consistent with the newer Little Monster books of the time. How they use digital coloring, and he removed the word bubbles and such. Still have the lettering intact on the signs. Now, on the next page. Here we go. Here. Now, on the next page, the only thing similar is when Little Monster, or Mystery Monster, as the original calls it, declares that it's the work of the evil smell switcher. The original has him eat 2 peanut butter sandwiches and drink 3 glasses of orange juice, compared to the book and the game where it's just a sip of the orange juice and a taste of the peanut butter. We also have more word bubbles in the original that were edited out of the reprint. Like, Mrs. Yellow Papa says, "Why, hello, Little Monster," and "Just call me Mystery Monster." And the mom's, "Little Monster, where is that boy?" And the zipperump-a-zoo clues the readers when to scratch and sniff, like the orange juice there. In fact, let me use this nickel here to scratch and sniff the orange juice. The fragrant spot. Like Little Monster said, orangey with a supple hint of peanut butter. You may have noticed how the sleepover scene in the PC game was added just for the game. It was not in the original story. Of course, they added that sleepover so they could set up the suspects. And now here, we get an illustration that was not featured in the game or the book reissue. Here, Little Monster hires a sniffing Kerplopus to work with him. And this is unusual, because in prior books, like collected in this treasury, Little Monster already has a pet Kerplopus named Kirby. So this book here kind of retcons it. Kirby here says, Professor Wormbog sent me. Gotta love those connections with the Mercer Mayer's other monster stories. Like here, where it says, another Trollisk tale. I wonder if it's a follow-up to how the Trollisk got his hat. And check out the mom's line here. Little Monster, are you playing in your father's office? Now comes a pretty big change with both book editions. In the original 1980 Scratch and Sniff version here, it's lunchtime and Little Monster notices his pot making a salad. Yuck, he says. I can't eat that salad. It smells like perfume. I'm going to go after the evil smell switcher. Right now. After your nap, says his pop. Bats, says Mystery Monster. That boy has such an imagination, says his mom. And the zipperump-a-zoo tells us to scratch and sniff the salad. Well then... Ooh, classy perfume, like the kind I may use if I were to dress a drag. And so Little Monster and Kerplopus take their nap. In their trench coats and hats? Geez, that must be uncomfortable. Aw, look at the zipperump-a-zoo here. That's cute. Let's go, said Mystery Monster to a sniffing Kerplopus. The note is the same. Now in the newer edition, those pages are swapped around. The narration says, I hurried home to review the case with my trusty assistant, Detective Kerplopus, but Mom said we had to take a nap. The note is the same in both versions of the book. Also, in the game, before the nap, his mom nicely says, Little Monster, it's time for your nap. And then after this comes the salad smelling like perfume page. No doubt this is done to match how the game switched around those pages as well. And when Little Monster asks his mom where he bought the salad, and she mentions she got it at the grocery store, Little Monster says to the private eyemobile Detective Kerplopus, just like in the game. Look at how in the reissue here, Detective Kerplopus' trench coat was changed from brown to green. While in the game, it's still brown. And it's Little Monster who has the green trench coat now. And now we get this page when they're driving the private eyemobile. In the game, this is the second page, and they're heading to Yallowpappas Manor. On the book versions, it says in the 1980 version, they rush to the grocery store. I'll bet he strikes there next, said Mystery Monster. Whereas the 1998 version has the text read something different, of course. It says, Detective Kerplopus and I hopped into the private eyemobile and sped to the grocery store. The 1980 edition has the bird creature say, that boy is always in a hurry. But of course it's edited out of the reprints. I like what a croony, that's what the bird thing says. Now, at the grocery store, or in the 1980 edition, not much has changed. Well, except in the original 1980 version, Mystery Monster sniffs the tomatoes, like we will. Phew! Strong pickle smell! It kinda gives me a bit of a craving for pickles. Now, this is not mentioned in the game or the book reissue. But you can see the graphics here saying, "I'm ruined," just like in the game. And only some of the text was changed in the 1998 reissue. And they removed those word bubbles and the sound effect onomatopoeia for the smell switching device. And next up comes the fish market. Interesting how there's a human there, and he was left in the game too. Pretty much the only human to appear in the new version. The text in the original is simpler. He ran for the fish market. All the fish smelled like candy. The reissue changed it. It now says, "We chased this evil smell switcher all the way to the fish market, but we were too late. The fish smelled like candy. After him," I shouted. The original book also had these amusing word bubbles. Like, this is really nuts. "A pound of butterscotch fish, please." And, "Yum, yum, peppermint shark." And then in the flower shop, the flowers smell like fish. And the text in the original here is simpler. They ran in the flower shop. The flowers smelled like, all the flowers smell like fish. Yeah, this guy saying, "That does it. I'm starting a worm farm." Yeah. I'm also surprised how in the 1998 reissue here, they didn't edit out this guy's cigar. It wasn't in the PC game, obviously. Maybe because they already had a smoking scene with that blue creature smoking a pipe on the fish market page. Then they go through the finest, fanciest restaurant in town. And once again, some differences are noticeable. In this original book, the dinner rolls smell like roses, and the roast chicken smells like turpentine. In fact, as the zipperump-a-zoo there says, "Whoopity-doo, scratch and sniff that chicken!" Phew! Strong turpentine smell. In the 1998 reissue, the rolls instead smell like bubble gum, and the chicken smells like soap. In the game, those were swapped around, with them especially mentioning about the chicken smell like bubble gum. Yeah. I like how in the original version, the word bubbles were like, "This roll smells like a rose. Please don't talk about it." And "Paging Island Joe." Yep, they throw in quite a few Island Joe references in the original book, as those were always a staple of the old Little Monster and Professor Werbog related books, as you also saw in How the Trollus Got His Hat. I also remember on later printings of those series books, Little Monster didn't appear in, like the aforementioned How the Trollus Got His Hat. They were still printed as part of the Little Monster series. Then we get the garbage dump page. In the original book, the text simply says, "At the garbage dump, everything smelled so lovely that the monsters had come from everywhere for a picnic." I like how here, the zipperump-a-zoo says, "Scratch and sniff. See if you can find a tire that smells like bubblegum." Well, I see Detective Kerplopus has found it. as Detective Kerploppa says here, "Yum, yum, smells just like bubblegum." The game has no mention of a picnic, and neither does the book reprint, which has a lot more text on the page. It instead says, "But we weren't about to give up. We chased the evil smell switcher to the garbage dump. He had been there all right. The garbage smelled lovely. Detective Kerploppa, I searched high and low, but we couldn't find that smell switcher anywhere. He's right here in the trash can." Of course, in the game, they don't see him until it's too late, when he magically emerges from the trash can. And that dapper monster you see here wasn't in the game either. It's... But then, the original 1980 book has an illustration that was not in the game or the reprint. It simply says, "At the city park, everything smelled like garbage." The zipperump-a-zoo says, "Scratch and sniff that bubblegum." So let's do that. Ew, motor oil. And how the mother monster there, she's saying, "This gum smells like an oil dump." And the dapper monster there is saying, "Snurg." Of course, the game could only fit 12 pages, along with 2 bonus clickable screens. And the original book here has 28 pages. And now, when we get to this page, the text wasn't changed too much, aside from the third to first person narration conversion. And also in this version of the book, it's called The Big City. While in the game and the reprint, it's called Monsterville. And of course, all these word bubbles. "This soda smells funny." You said it. And how I love the smell of city air. Popcorn? And oh look, there's another human character. A boy that was removed from the game version. In fact, this page is far less crowded in the game. While the letter-eating Bombinat has a part to play in the game, providing the developed spy photo of the refrigerator handprint taken in the Yalapappa's kitchen. Now, of course, for the reprint, they removed all those word bubbles, and it's still just as crowded, and of course the color differences. But now that we've come to the end of the story, there's a big difference between both these editions and the game. The unmasking of the evil smell switcher. In the book versions, it happens right there in the city. Let's turn the page and see who he really is. It's Little Laugh! Now, in the original book version here, they were just playing an innocent game like little boys would. Little Laugh says, after removing his mask, "I got to go home now, little monster. My mom's calling me." "Okay, Little Laugh," Little Monster says. "Let's play Mystery Monster again tomorrow. And this time, you can be the wicked green slobbery thing that ate the world." And as Little Laugh walks home, Detective Kerploppa thinks, "I can't wait to see what these two come up with next." But I sure hope Little Laugh reset all those smells on his way back home, and they at least apologize for the ruckus they caused all across Island Joe and or Monsterville. But in the 1998 reissue book, it's not as lighthearted. In addition to removing one of the illustrations shown, the text says, "The evil smell switcher took off his mask. It was none other than my friend Little Laugh." Very funny, Little Laugh, I said, but crime never pays. Little Laugh just laughed. Detective Kerplopus and I grinned. Next time we'll catch him. You don't call me Little Monster, Private Eye for nothing. That was done somewhat to make it look more like the game, where Little Laugh is indeed one of 5 suspects that could be the evil smell switcher. The others being Icky, Jerry Bombinette, Erg, and Yali. And yes, Little Laugh just did it as a joke, as in the game he's made to be quite the practical joker, probably because he's named Little Laugh after all, and he doesn't really get off scot-free in the game either.
You're not gonna call the cops, are you?
No, even worse. We're going to call your mother.
No!
Yeah, of course in my YouTube poop, he does indeed go to jail. Also note Little Laugh's smell switcher costume. The way he wears the dark blue trench coat and the fedora hat and a black eye mask reminds me of the Bugs Bunny short, Baby Buggy Bunny, where dwarf gangster Babyface Finster used a similar disguise to rob a bank, but he used stilts underneath his coat to appear much taller and evade suspicion, which he pulls off even further by swiftly changing disguises to a baby in a buggy, due to his baby-like face that manages to successfully fool the police. At least Mercer Mayer didn't have Little Laugh disguise himself as a baby in a buggy the way Babyface Finster did, because then it'd become almost as bland on the rip-off of the cartoon as Little Man was. Hard to believe that movie was 15 years ago now. But anyways, despite the different ending, the game did reference a bit of the text from the original book here.
Great job, Detective.
Why, thank you, Chief Inspector. What are we going to do tomorrow?
We could play Little Monster, Space Ranger.
Could I be the wicked green slobbery thing that ate the world?
Sure thing, chum.
Splendid.
Case closed. Yeah, it wasn't really much of a case. Well, I thought we need to do, since I'm known for showing such comparisons on this YouTube channel. While both book editions are pretty neat, they do kind of pale in comparison to the PC game, especially with its multiple ending scenarios and all those pop culture references and song parodies. They even did it better than DreamWorks or whatever often does. Besides that, around the time the reprint was made, Mercer Mayer began to collaborate with Erica Farber and John Assansaver, both of whom wrote and developed the Smelly Mystery PC game with Mayer, on several other book series, such as a few other little critter stories, the short-lived spin-off Elsie and the Critter Kids when they were teenagers. No, I'm not making that up. And the Critters of the Night, and some more Little Monster Private Eye stories, some of which are also collected in this treasury, like The Lost Wish, How the Zebra Lost His Stripes, 101 Penguins, and the Bubblegum Pirates. Although, even there was a book of the Mummy Mystery, loosely adapted into a CD-ROM game in 2001 that was more or less a straightforward adventure game, instead of an interactive storybook. In the same vein as Little Critter and the Great Race, from that same time. I guess it kind of makes sense, as a few of the newer mysteries in this book, like 101 Penguins and the Bubblegum Pirates, they're more like adventure stories than mysteries. Especially since Mercer Mayer, Erica Farber, and John Assansaver were doing such adventure stories, like the aforementioned Critters of the Night and Elsie and the Critter Kids stories. But I guess that's enough mysteries for now. I'm currently developing another fursona to join me and Sydney Kangaroo, a fox who's also a private detective, sort of like the badge artwork for the Maltese FurCon 2014. That way I don't always have to play private nose here. Not that I don't enjoy doing it.